Hey everyone, Crypto Walker here, and I just wanted to give my personal opinion on the crypto market and maybe a more longer term, broader view on where we're at today, but where we're headed in the future. This is just for educational and informational purposes only, but hopefully you get some good out of it. So we're looking at coinmarketcap.com. The market cap has grown a little bit overnight, last few days, as Bitcoin has been on the rise from the $7,500 area, and we're currently at 8,400. We'll go through what I feel like, what I think Bitcoin is going to do over the next 3 days. This is just a crazy volatile market. It's a really small market. We're $1/3 trillion in the whole market of all cryptocurrencies globally. That is minuscule. That is a pebble in the ocean compared to real estate and Forex and commodities, stocks and commodities markets. So just keep in mind that this is in its infancy, and we are in the process. We're witnessing the volatility after a parabolic run over last year, where Bitcoin 10x'd in a year, and garnered the attention from all governments, institutions, corporations. Anybody and everybody wants to get their hands into the crypto space, and many of these corporations and governments and institutions are doing so by creating their own personal coins and offering them pre-sale outside of ICO now. So ICOs, people are becoming more skeptical. There were so many scams, it's just got crazy. There's still a lot of ICOs coming out, but usually what we're finding in this current market is that venture capitalists with millions of dollars are being given the opportunity to invest in these future technologies on the blockchain with coins before even the pre-sale comes out, before the ICO. So looking at the markets that are available in the cryptocurrency world, today everything's green, right? Of course everything's green because Bitcoin's green. Right now we're in a space where most of these currencies follow Bitcoin. If it's going down, they're going down. If it's going up, they go up by a little bit. Very few of them, depending on if they have news or some beta release or some project release coming out, will gain over Bitcoin when Bitcoin is going down. We could see an altcoin rally coming in May, but it will be few and far between coins that actually have projects that they're releasing or have a utility that people will take and adopt to use in the cryptocurrency blockchain world. So keep that in mind. Don't just invest in anything. You definitely want to do your own research and get to know the projects you're investing in, because this is your money. You want to be wise with it. You want it to grow. You want it to be long-term. You don't want it to crash. And there will be thousands of cryptos that crash this year, just as there was last year. When I first started getting into cryptocurrency, there were less than 700 cryptocurrencies and less than 1,200 markets. There's now over 1,500 cryptocurrencies and almost 10,000 different markets. So it is growing. It is getting crazy. But there's some long-term vision that I want to share. First off, for all of you who might be wondering, G20 Summit is meeting. Cryptocurrency was the topic of conversation, still is. The meeting, I believe, is still going on. There was some positive news that they don't look at creating more regulations. They're just going to look at the current rules and try to better alter them for the cryptocurrency market, because they know that cryptocurrency is the future and it's here to stay. So that's a positive. That's probably most likely why we saw the spike over the last 2 days. For those of you who are skeptical about large corporations and big money adopting cryptocurrency, Goldman Sachs funded Circle, which is an app which just acquired Poloniex, one of the largest crypto exchanges. That happened a couple of months ago to the tune of $400 million. Goldman Sachs is a huge fund. They manage billions and billions of dollars. It would be silly for them not to get into being part of the crypto world, and nothing better than for them to actually own the exchange that you're able to trade on. That way they make money on every trade you make. Every single trade, buy, sell, doesn't matter. They're making money and gaining more crypto. which is what all the governments and large corporations want to do, is garner as much control as they can during this downturn while they scare all the weak hands out of the market. What else did I want to share with you? Oh, another piece of positive news that I think everybody should really take a look at, and I just downloaded this app on my phone today, is Abra. It's a cryptocurrency and fiat currency app that is really an awesome decentralized, perfect competitor to Coinbase. Coinbase has really monopolized the crypto market because they created the most easy, because cryptocurrency, getting into it can be difficult, overwhelming for many people, and so they just don't do it. Not because they're not interested and don't want to, but because they don't want to start another account and connect their account and go through the verification and all these different things. And then if they want to get a different crypto than Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum, or Bitcoin Cash, then they have to open up another exchange account, and it just seems too complicated. Well, Abra's here to simplify it. I think that any project that simplifies people's ability to participate in the cryptocurrency world is going to be a huge pick or shovel in the industry, and going to offer the possibility for us to really take crypto into the future to be a form of true payment, just like we use our fiat money, our Visa and our MasterCard. And that's really where Abra is at, to allow us to use crypto just like we do a Visa and MasterCard for peer-to-peer transactions, and also do some trading within the app. You can transfer, Bitcoin. If you think it's going to go down, you could transfer it into US dollars. And then once it goes down, you could buy back into Bitcoin. You could do the same thing back and forth with 20 different cryptocurrencies, and I think 50 different fiat currencies. So Abra, abra.com is their website. Go check it out. You can download the app on your phone. You own the private keys, which is another awesome thing. Unlike Coinbase, you own your own private keys, which is what you want, control of your own personal monies and investments. So anyway, you can find out more information about that, but I think this is going to be huge. And lastly on this, I want to get into Litecoin, because Litecoin is their choice for payment solutions. They're using the Lightning Network. So I see that Litecoin is going to be really, really strong in the future, as Litecoin is instantaneous and has like minuscule transaction fees, which is what all these companies want. Think about a company like, I don't know, any company that has a merchant service account, and they pay 3 to 5% Visa and MasterCard fees every time they swipe your card. They pay a minimum transaction fee plus a 1 to 2, if not 3% on the total balance back to the Visa or MasterCard company. This forgoes their need to do that. They're able to run the Lightning Network, have their own node, and accept payments in crypto without having to pay Visa or MasterCard all those fees. It saves them, depending on how much e-commerce they do, could save them millions of dollars a month in fees. So it's very appealing. It's the future. This is really crypto. Another big piece of the puzzle is not only do they solve the double spending problem, but also the transactions, the cost of doing business is a huge benefit in the crypto world. And Litecoin is, in my opinion, one of the best solutions. Again, just my own opinion, do your own research. Okay, let's get into the market. Let's look at Bitcoin first. I was going to clear this chart out and draw it from beginning to end, but I'm just going to show you guys what I've been looking at. This is the longer term, larger view on the daily chart. You can get down to the 4 hour and the 1 hour. You can go back to the 1 week chart. But let's look at the daily chart. Back in like January of last year, let's see, where did it's Bitcoin traded in this channel for over a year, okay? The channel really started, I guess, for real, was tested the first time in May of last year. So 11 months ago. And then Bitcoin ran and just bounced up and down in this channel. And it's not that these bounces look tiny now compared to this current retrace, but they were pretty volatile. I was here for these, China banning Bitcoin and all the things that happened to cause Bitcoin to fall big time, but it still remained in this channel. It bounce up, bounce back down, bounce up and retest, bounce back down. It finally bounced out and then came back down on some FUD again, Korea, I think at that time. And then once it bounced out, once it finally bounced out for the second time and confirmed that it was really out of that channel, it just went parabolic. It just went up, 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 up. And that is really what caught the attention of the world, the mass markets of what are we doing? Digital currency is here to stay. We need to pay attention to it. It's not going anywhere. We need to participate in it. The CME started doing futures contracts on Bitcoin. CBOE started doing futures contracts about right here. Then we had the Mt. Gox sell-offs and all these things that we could say attributed to this. But on a technical standpoint, this needed to cool off after this parabolic rise from, you know, really 5,500 to 19.8 within the matter of a month and a half. That's crazy. So we're now in this downtrend, this bear trend, if you want to call it, that's lasted all of 3 months. And people are panicking and saying Bitcoin's going to $3,000, and Bitcoin really could go to $3,000. It could retrace all the way back down to the $3,000 level where it was 1 year ago, less than a year ago, last September, and track sideways for a while before it goes on another bull run. And if it did that, it's still a healthy market. It's still a healthy market cycle. Markets cycle, okay? They go through demand, they go through accumulation. We need to hit here, in my opinion, and go through some accumulation, sideways movement. We might be seeing the beginnings of that right now. Only time will tell. But ultimately, what I feel like is stifling this market right now purposefully is the big money. The big money financial institutions who are trying to regulate all of this, but they don't even know what to call it, right? Is it a currency? Is it a property? Is it a security? What the heck is this? How are we going to tax it? How are we going to get our hands on it? How are we going to own it? And how are we going to control it, right? This decentralized form of payment really was what it was all created for, Bitcoin initially. They're all a part of the blockchain. IBM, all these companies have their, you know, blockchains that they're creating. So I'm very, very bullish long-term on Bitcoin. I'm paying a lot of attention to this area around the $92 to $9,500 range. If we break out above this descending trend line and have a strong, healthy bounce, most likely we'll come back to retest it. And on that retest, if we stay above this line and bounce again, then that to me is confirmation that we're in the next bull run, if you will, okay? But I want to make sure that for those people who are investing, I think long-term, I tell people all the time, if you have $50 or $100 or $200 or whatever it is, $25 a month that you put into a savings account, pick a couple different cryptos and put it into those every month. Bitcoin and Litecoin, Litecoin and Ethereum. I think those are all really good long-term investments. Again, this isn't advice. This is just, you know, if I were you, this is what I would do. Never invest more than you can afford to lose, and look at it just like you would a long-term IRA, right? Or stocks. And should Bitcoin 10x from here in the next 2 years? Then hallelujah. It's performing much faster than the NASDAQ, than the stocks and commodities markets. And I really feel like it's here to stay as a future form of payment that people will start using and spending over their fiat dollars. We got a ways to go, but I do believe that that's coming down the road. So Bitcoin, you know, we've been tracking in this channel now. We broke out of this channel, got into this downward channel. And now this light line is the channel that we broke out of here back in November and started going parabolic. We broke down back into that channel, and we could just go sideways right here in this channel for a while before breaking out of it too. Another very likely scenario. Time will tell, okay? Bullish news is what's going to break us out of that channel with any kind of velocity. We need bullish news so that would change the sentiment and people will know that crypto is a wise investment, right? So we're a tiny market right now, very volatile. But all the big money knows it's here to stay, guys. So where's the little money? Where's the $25 to $50, $100 a month investors? Something to think about. Okay. Now I wanted to look at a couple other crypto coins that I feel could be really strong hits over the next year. And they've had really nice retraces. Not to say that the retrace is over. They could still go down more. Obviously, nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows. Do your own research. But I am starting to dollar cost average in to Veritasium. I have friends who have said, buy Very, buy Very, buy Very, buy Very, buy it. And I have waited until it got back down into what I would consider. Again, this is a brand new market, guys. This whole industry is brand new. So it's really hard to predict, you know, where accumulation zones really are. But if I look into the past, and a good accumulation zone is right here, right? Before it has a breakout, touches again, has another breakout. We're right back in that accumulation zone. It could go sideways for months. But and as it does, I'll just continue to buy the dips. I bought this dip here. I'll accumulate and buy a little bit more of a dip and wait for the next cycle, okay? If it stays in this accumulation zone, and we can just look at the last cycle, you know, it came onto the market. This is a new crypto. So I'm looking at the 0.5 Bitcoin, or sorry, 0.5 ETH, half an ETH. As you know, and right now we're at 0.12, about 0.2 about. So that's a 2.5 times growth, right? 250%, not a bad return on investment, okay? And we've been in this descending wedge for quite a while too, and it's just retested and had a nice bounce and almost tested the top here. Once it breaks out, that's confirmation, and that's probably when I'll buy my last little bit to ride it up for the next market cycle. Another one is ADDX. It has some good stuff coming out as far as news in the coming months. It's had a really heavy retrace as well, back into what I would consider the accumulation zone. You know, this is kind of a wide zone here, but it had this nice little accumulation, went sideways for a couple of weeks before this rally. It had this nice accumulation here for about 3-4 weeks at a huge rally, back down, another rally, and it's just tipped into the accumulation zone here. So I'm just watching it really carefully, but I'm also considering that this may be the floor right here, the top of this accumulation for this next run. And the reason why, hold on a second, is because if you look at this line right here, that was the ceiling of this accumulation zone, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes the floor for the next accumulation zone. So where it was resistance could now become support, much like it did here, right? Okay, let's draw another ray. These are just things you can look at, okay? So much as resistance, it kept bumping up, and this became resistance, 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 till it broke through with some major velocity. That was really the resistance right here. Well, then when it came back down to retest, what happened? What was resistance, the ceiling, has now become support, which is the floor for it to bounce off of. So this again could become support. So I did buy a little bit here. It might come back down, you know, into this accumulation zone. But if it doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised if it just tracks sideways for a few weeks before it bounces out of this descending trend line for its next run, okay? Another one that I'm looking at on my watch list is Pillar. Really cool project wallet. It's got a lot of really good stuff going on. It just had a recent parabolic run. You know, you have your waves, your Elliott waves, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you got your A, B, C, D, E. I don't know where this is going to go. There's still a possibility it could break down and come, you know, down to here. I will be, should it come down to this zone right here, I will look for an entry. Again, because this became resistance, resistance, resistance before it broke out. So this could become support, support, support before it breaks up. All right. But I'm watching this because it's in this, it's getting close, right? And hold on a second. Why can I not make this smaller? There we go. This would be the zone I'd be paying attention to. Not to say that it couldn't break. It could break all the way down and retrace all the way back to this floor. So when I say dollar cost average, the idea is, okay, I'm watching a coin, I'm watching a project. When it gets into my buy zone, I'm going to dollar cost average in maybe 3 different buys. So I might buy at the top a little bit, have a buy set for the middle a little bit more than I have at the top, right? So let's say 10 here, 20 here, and 50 here at the very bottom. It may never retrace all the way to the bottom. I may never get that fill, but I might get the top in the middle. So a dollar cost average, you know, I didn't hit the perfect bottom, but I got about the middle of it, right? So that's dollar cost averaging in. And you can do that with any project you're wanting to buy into. Bitcoin, Ethereum, doesn't matter how much or how little. Okay, so I might set my buy order for right here at the top of this line, another buy order for here, and another buy order at the very bottom. And we'll just see what happens. But it did just have a nice little bounce, which doesn't surprise me because as you can see, this initial resistance zone is right where it hit. There was resistance over here. Sorry, I know this screen's kind of small. And resistance right here, resistance, resistance, resistance before it broke through. Well, guess what happened yesterday? It hit that support zone right there, okay? Hit that prior resistance that now became support, and now it's having a bounce. Doesn't mean that bounce is gonna last. It could break down and go a little bit lower or drop all the way down to the floor completely before the bounce. And a lot of it will depend on Bitcoin, unfortunately. But it could also go sideways, which is a good sign of accumulation for a couple of weeks or even a month. I really feel like May is going to be another rally. But again, it's going to be a rally with the coins that have projects, have good roadmaps, have great dev teams, have good network effect following, and have a product that people want to use, right? So again, we go through fundamentals and everything in our crypto trading course. You can check it out, but that's what I'm looking at for today. I hope that this video helped you guys. I want to go back and close with Bitcoin really quickly on a smaller time frame. We have volume coming in. The last few days, we've seen rises in volume, which is nice. Good buy support. We've got some, you know what, a possible bull pennant forming here on the 4-hour, right? Which is a bullish signal. But we've also got lots of resistance it has to pass through here, okay? Lots of resistance. See this? You had support, support, resistance, resistance. So it needs to break through that 8,600 with some power to get up to the next resistance area, which is around 88 to 9,000. But I'm really closely watching this. I think that we're going to have a nice bounce up to the 92 to 9,400 range to retest this downward trend line. Doesn't mean we're going to break out or break through it, but have a retest of it. And should that happen, here's what we could be looking at. Okay, again, bullish news will change all of this. The G20 comes out with even more bullish news. So we've got this other descending trend line, right, that we could be paying attention to as well. And we tested it and bounced. I have a feeling we're going to test and break through. Okay, we could bounce up, but most likely, more likely than not, we will retrace back after testing this downward trend line, and we could bounce down and retest this line again, right? This is a good support area, right? So it might come back. There was resistance, resistance, breaks through, retest to become future support around the 8,600 range. And then we just, you know, kind of consolidate for a while, or possibly just bounce out. You know, again, it depends on the news, really. Technical analysis works excellently until fundamentals break it. And in crypto, with such a small market cap, it's easy to break. One, you know, bad country decides to ban Bitcoin or ban ICOs, or a crypto exchange gets hacked, can just really set the whole market tumbling. So you have to really pay attention to that. If you're trading, if you're not trading and you're investing for the long term, never invest what you can't afford to lose. and think of it long-term, as a long-term investment. I fully do agree with many of the larger traders and funds managers, and that are predicting Bitcoin to go to, 90 to 100,000 by 2020. So if that happens, are you going to care if you bought it at 8,500 or 6,500 when it's 60 grand, 90 grand, 100 grand? Possibly, but I kind of doubt it.